This is the ultrasonic core energy balancing session. In our approach to any energy work, the key to the body is this core. It's like the nucleus of the body's energy fields and the home of the finer essence of higher vibrational energy. When we balance the core, the rest of the body in essence is an effect, and profound things happen in the healing process as we tune ourselves with the healing presence of this soul force. We're beginning with our quiet heart cradle. Again, we're grounding, orienting ourselves to the four directions, establishing our fulcrums, centering ourselves in the flow of energy from heaven to earth, earth to heaven, and in our healing intention. Shoulders, arms, hands deeply relaxed, deeply present. Now there's an additional technique that I'd like to teach here that we use in our sattvic contacts and indeed in all of our contacts, which is called establishing a fulcrum in the hand contact. When we're dealing with energy, we're always dealing with a dynamic, moving, living system. And so to track energy with some subtlety, it's important that you create a fulcrum in your own hand so it has a focal point, and then from that focal point it's much easier to track another's energy from a centered place, and thus with much more sensitivity. So as we hold this contact, we're going to be just for an instant pressing our palms on the table, relaxing and holding an intention that this point of contact is a fulcrum, a center for energetic movement and awareness. So as we're holding this first sattvic contact, we press our hands in the table for a second, we relax them, and that becomes the fulcrum, the center, which allows us much more stability for our awareness of the client's subtle energy. It's also very valuable when you're doing body work to do an invocation to higher intelligence. Again, we live in a fabric of living intelligence, and it's always valuable to raise the quality of your own consciousness by doing this invocation. It's useful to share this prayer if you'd like to give your work a spiritual ambiance, or you can focus inward. I'll often say something like, Beloved Mother Earth, Father Sky, all people in the four directions, Vasudeva, all-pervasive spirit of creative intelligence, hear the prayers in this person's heart for wholeness, for well-being, for a good health. Bring her the insights, the guidance, the realizations that she needs to grow, to be whole, to be at peace, for her highest good, for the highest good of all concerned. May thy will be done. Once we feel a shift in the client's energy towards more coherent parasympathetic state, then we're going to move down to the client's feet. In this session, we're going to be releasing, clearing the parasympathetic nervous system, which embodies fire. So it's not necessary for us to work on balancing the fire center. Moving down to the feet, we're measuring the legs, getting a sense of which is the longest, the most relaxed leg. We're again beginning with our stretches and rotations. Deep breath, leaning into the foot for the stretch. Another deep breath. Client breathing into their Achilles tendon, deep breath. Deep breath. Same pattern of rotation, stimulating the anterior tibialis and stimulating the core reflexes. Rajasic, stillness, stimulating the opposite direction. 2 cycles of stimulation and stillness. Stimulation, stillness, client breathing into the stillness, deeply present in the contact. And then counterclockwise. We would be doing the same on the other foot. Stretches, rotations, always ending in stillness and presence, working with Rajasic energy stimulation and then stillness, the Sattvic energy that resonates with the nervous system. Then we're working all the toes again, really paying attention to the base of the toes that resonate with the pelvis. Polarity describes 2 currents, in-breath and out-breath, a yang, a yin, a breath from heaven, a breath from earth, a warming, heating, centrifugal, expansive, creative breath, and a centripetal, a pulling, a cooling, centering, feminine breath. These 2 breaths of life, the breath from heaven to earth, the breath from earth to heaven, we call involutionary, the energy moving from heaven to earth, and then evolutionary, the energy moving from earth to heaven. The energy moving from heaven to earth, the involutionary current, moves from above to below, from subtle to gross, from heaven to earth, and then from within to without, from subtle to gross, within to without. And it predominates in the functioning in the central nervous system and the functioning of the organ systems of the body. The energy moving from below to above, the evolutionary energy, moves from without to within, below to above, and it predominates in the muscular skeletal system, in the structure of the body. In any session in which you're focusing on structure, you're focusing on these evolutionary currents, which are moving from without to within, below to above. In this core spine session, we're certainly focusing on the spine as the very core of structure in the body. And thus we're working with these currents that move from below to above, these foundation currents, these tamasic currents, which are the source of inertia, resistance, and crystallize as the structure, precipitate as the structure in the body. Because we're working with these tamasic currents in this structural session, we may do work that's on that tamasic edge. Tamas is the principle of inertia and resistance in the body. It comes from a Sanskrit root which means to perish, and it points to the centripetal, cleansing, fall time of the year. And it points to the apan, the centripetal cleansing processes below the navel and active in every field of the body. So our toe work is very similar to what we've been doing. So as I've been mentioning, we're going to be doing some tamasic work. And in tamasic work, you evoke the client's resistance. You bring it to the surface to release that resistance. And that's often a very intense process, and it's often a process that will uncover emotional holding, emotional inertia and resistance, and bring that to the surface. So it's very important to have a clear agreement with the client that you have their permission to do a tomasic contact, which may be painful for an instant. So you can have the client use a word like edge to let you know that they're on their edge, or use a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being their absolute limit. So if they say 3 or 4, they want you to go deeper. They say 8 or 9, they're very close to the limit, and they need for you to be less intense in your tomasic contact. Deep breath. We've worked all the toes rajasically, and now we're going to work the reflexes to the spine tomasically.
Right.
The feet are a microcosm of the body. The right half of the body represented on the right side of the feet, on the right foot. Everything in the body in its corresponding place. Here's the head, here's the neck, here's the shoulders, 7 cervical vertebrae. Here, midline, are the reflexes to the spine and the sacrum. Our focus in this core session is on these reflexes to the spine. Now, in our work, we're interested in the sympathetic ganglion. The ganglion is a concentration of nerves, and the sympathetic ganglion radiate out of the foramen and are in the lamina groove next to the spine. The sympathetic ganglion hold mental and emotional impulses and hold body armoring. So tension in the sympathetic ganglion tend to pull the spine out of alignment and to be the real source that underlies pain and problems with the spine. So we're going to be working with the reflexes to the sympathetic nervous system, which are not on the midline. They're not the spine reflexes, but they are lateral to the midline. So tend to hold the contact in which we use the thumb as a tool and press in with the other hand. So the thumb is almost level on the foot, and we press in with the other. We're working with the reflexes to the sympathetic ganglion, which are lateral to the midline spine reflexes. So we're going to use the tip of the thumb as a tool, and we're going to push the thumb with our other hand. So we're going to try to do a series of tomasic contacts on the reflexes to the sympathetic ganglion here at the negative field at the feet. We're going to again use the thumb as a tool. The client's going to take a really deep breath, and as they release that breath, we'll push in tomasically for an instant and then hold sattvically during the course of that breath. Deep breath. As they release, we push tomasically and hold sattvically. Deep breath. Push tomasically and hold sattvically. Deep breath. Deep breath. Polarity is a field theory, so you don't have to get every single vertebrae. Just keep deep breath, holding sattvically with the out-breath as you move along these reflexes, stimulating the field. Holding sattvically, deep breath. Same thing on the other side. Sometimes we'll actually sit on the table. This thumb is a tool. Again, this thumb rests on the bottom of the foot. We're first stimulating these midline reflexes that we really can't get into. But then under the ball of the foot, we can start getting into the thoracic and then the lumbar vertebrae reflexes. So you see the way this thumb is pretty much level on the foot. Deep breath. As she breathes out, we pinch tomasically for an instant and hold sattvically. Deep breath. She breathes out tomasically, hold sattvically. Deep breath. Tomasically, hold sattvically. Deep breath. Tomasically, hold sattvically. Deep breath. Deep breath. Tomasically, hold sattvically. Deep breath, tamasic, sattvic. Deep breath, tamasic for a second, sattvic as you breathe out. Tamasic for a second, sattvic as you breathe out. Tamasic, sattvic. This work will often facilitate a spontaneous self-correction of the vertebrae. Now, you're not a chiropractor. You haven't been trained to do manipulation or correction of the spine. But with these energy balancing techniques, releasing the holding in the sympathetic ganglion that are stressing the spine and pulling it out of integrity, deep work on these contacts will often facilitate a spontaneous self-correction of the spine and will often help a slip disc to self-correct as well. So they're really valuable and powerful contacts. After we've done the core reflexes, we hold 10 fingers on 10 toes and we work from gross to subtle, toning through the chakras. Feeling our love for our Mother Earth, opening her blessings, picturing vermilion radiation at the root chakra, client practitioner, toning together with a tone, love. Deep breath. Flame-colored radiation at the sacrum. Deep breath. Translucent golden white light at the solar plexus. Deep breath. The heart, emerald radiance. Throat. Third eye. Crown chakra, mystic syllable Om, feeling it resonate throughout the whole body. Om. Shaking off your hands, draping the client's feet. Now we move to the client's right side. Again, you use your torso to hold the draping. You lift, have the client turn away from you. And theoretically, they don't get tangled up in the sheet. Have the client move close to your side of the table. The body has two modalities, sympathetic, parasympathetic. In the sympathetic, the body shuts down internal, nourishing, building processes and puts all the body energy in the musculature for fight, flight, survival, and work. Parasympathetic, the body takes the energy out of the extremities, releases the stress and the traumatic holding, and brings the energy back home for nurturance and vitality. The key to working with this is working with the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. One of the powerful things about the system that we're using is that we understand how to release the holding in the sympathetic nervous system and how to innervate the parasympathetic nervous system. Here we're going to make a contact in which we're working to release the holding in the sympathetic ganglion along the spine by understanding our reflexes to the sympathetic nervous system underneath the tailbone at the ganglion of impair and our reflexes at the Achilles tendon. And guy. By working with these reflexes, a profound level of stress and tension and even trauma can easily be released from the cellular memory and of the nervous system and of the body as a whole. So again, we're not putting pressure directly on the spine. We're not midline here on the spine. Our contact is in the lamina groove, in the indentation on either side of the spine. You want to never make a contact directly on the spine unless you use special postures that cushion and protect the spine against force. Here we're going to be using a little bit of oil. We're going to be putting this oil in the lamina groove. Now, the ganglion of impair is located under the tip of the tailbone. We're going to feel we're going to ask permission to make a contact on your buttock. Mm-hmm. We're going to feel for the gluteal cleavage and for the ischial tuberosity, the sits bone. Our contact will be medial to the ischial tuberosity on the buttock, with a line of force that's heading towards the ganglion of impair. Feel the gluteal cleavage, feel the sits bone. Your contact is medial. Have the client take a deep breath. Your first contact sliding down the lamina groove is very, very light, making sure that nothing is painful or sensitive. Please tell me if any area is painful or sensitive. Very slowly moving down the lamina groove. Again, your contact at the perineum, at the buttock, is very light as well. Often there's crystallized toxins there that are razor sharp and extremely painful. When the elbow gets to the sacral base, to the sacrosotic notch, it's a wide rocking as the client takes a deep breath out. Wide rocking of the pelvis using both your thumb and elbow. Then you hold the contact in stillness with the client taking another deep breath. Now we move to the opposite side, deep breath, and we're gently moving down the lamina groove, asking the client to tell us if any area is sensitive or painful. Again, when we get to the sacrosotic notch, sacral base, it's a wide rocking as the client takes a deep breath, and then a second breath in stillness. Now, if the client's indicated that any area is sensitive, we'll let up as we go over that area. Now we're going a little deeper. Let's tone together. Deep breath. Deep out breath. Deep breath. Deep out breath. Second breath is in stillness, and you start to feel the perineum, the perineal diaphragm softening and releasing. We're doing this a total of 6 times, 3 times on each side, alternating. Last time on this side, deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Another breath in stillness. And we're feeling a nice softening at the perineal diaphragm. Last time, deep breath. second breath in stillness. Deep breath. You want to be feeling for the holding underneath your thumb, staying with it until you feel the tension softening. Then we make a contact from the ganglion of impair to the Achilles tendon. Ganglion of impair and Achilles tendon are important negative field reflexes to the sympathetic nervous system that release tension, stress, and even trauma from the sympathetic ganglion, from the body armoring, and from the cellular memory of the body. Deep breath. Breathe from your tailbone right down to your feet. Deep breath from your pelvis down through your tailbone, down to your feet. Then we hold the contact from the ganglion of impair, the tip of the tailbone, to the third eye, thumb making the contact on the third eye, again toning. Deep breath, deep breath. Deep breath. Flicking off your hands. Now you want to understand that these patterns of tension have been immobilizing the spine, and our release of these patterns of tension and under the ganglion impair lend a lot of fluidity and mobility to the sacrum and to the vertebrae so that they can spontaneously self-correct and also so they can function on a higher level of well-being. Now we integrate this into the body with a six-pointed star. Feeling for the holding. Client's head is facing towards you, feeling for the holding in the trapezius. Moving to the lateral margin of the sacrum, stimulating sacral parasympathetic nerves. Deep breath. And letting go. Breathe. Then moving into the buttocks, stimulating the sympathetic reflexes in the buttocks. And letting go. Then moving into the hips, wide, slow rocking. And letting go. And you can just feel the tension of the trapezius totally melt. On the other side, client turns her head towards you. On the other side, we're again making contact at the trapezius, feeling where the holding, the tension of the shoulder. First, stimulating the lateral margin of the sacrum. Then, speaking through our fingertips, tying trapezius to release. Deep breath. Feeling right through our fingertips. Let go, let go, let go. Then into the buttocks till we feel some heat stimulating the buttocks. Let go, let go, let go. And then contact into the crest of the ilium, the acetabulum. Let go, let go, let go. Just following the tension, feeling it just totally melting, 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 melting out of the shoulders. Deep breath. We've done a lot of work now to mobilize the sacrum and mobilize the vertebrae along the spine by releasing patterns of tension at the perineum and patterns of tension in the sympathetic ganglion. And now we're going to be doing an AO release, mobilizing the atlas and bringing a lot more freedom to the mobility of the occiput, and in that process mobilizing the cranial sutures. So here our chair is at the side of the table. We're getting support for our hand by the table and support for our thumb with our other fingers. The contact will be made with the side of the thumb, this area of the thumb. And we bring the client's head away from us. We're going to follow the occiput to the spine, and now we're going to bring the other thumb to the third eye. You want to feel the way this area is a natural fulcrum for your movement, so that your thumb contact here is a natural fulcrum for this movement. And then you want to feel the tension that is under this area of the thumb. And your line of force is towards the atlas, up under the occiput. So you just want to really feel the tension that's in under this area of your thumb, under the occiput, and towards the atlas. Your other thumb is on the third eye. And you're going to very slowly bring the head over as you feel the softening, using toning and breath and intention to facilitate the release. Bring your tension into the side of my thumb up in here, and let's tone together. Deep breath. Deep out breath. Breathe from my thumb down to your feet. Good. Starting to release. Deep breath. We're using presence and toning to get the release. Deep breath. What are you feeling under my thumb? So we're very patiently, very present under our thumb, feeling for the softening. Deep breath. And when you feel most of the tension dissolving under your thumb, then you bring the head over, and we'll move to the other side to release the other side. Turn the client's head away. Get lots of support for your arm from the shoulder and the table. The contact is made with the side of the thumb, follows the occiput down all the way to the spine, creates a fulcrum. Thumb is on the third eye. Now very slowly, as we feel the actual softening under the side of our thumb, we bring the head towards us as we tone. Deep breath. Deep breath, tone ah. Deep breath. Good breathing. One more deep breath. You feel softening, heat, electricity. The client may feel energy in their body, softening under the occiput. Shake your fingers off. And we now go on to a North Pole stretch. You want to make sure that there's no pain. So your first North Pole stretch contact is going to be exploratory. You're going to bring your wrist of your right hand under the occiput at about this angle. As the client breathes in, you're going to just draw your wrist into the occiput. So again, your wrist is virtually vertical, and you just bring it a few degrees towards you as the client breathes in. First, we're going to make sure that the contact isn't too painful. We lift the head, bring the wrist to the occiput, and this is a stretch of all the vertebrae. Again, we've done a lot here to mobilize the vertebrae by releasing tension in the sympathetic ganglion and occiput, and now we're going to give the body a chance to really integrate that with this stretch. The client does most of the stretch from within. Feel this, like breathe deep and feel the way just that deep breath begins to stretch the vertebrae, especially in the neck and up, especially up into the neck. So we hold the head down, have the client take a deep breath, and as they take that breath, we draw our wrist back into the occiput, providing a nice tug. As they release the breath, we let go. The client does most of the breath, most of the stretch with their breathing. Deep breath. And as they release, we let go. Deep breath, traction, and letting go. One last time. Deep breath, traction, and letting go. In this core energy balancing session, we've worked with reflexes to the spine and sympathetic nervous system to really mobilize the sacrum and mobilize the vertebrae and mobilize the occiput and cranial sutures so that the body can self-correct, and so this nucleus of the body, home of the finer forces of higher intelligence, can resonate and be receptive to the healing potency of the soul. Now we're holding a sattvic contact, and after doing all of this fairly gross material work, we're now going to open the subtle energy by toning through the chakras here in this sattvic cradle. Root chakra, Lam. Lam. Sacral chakra, solar plexus, heart, deep breath. The core session will usually balance all three pulses and bring the client into a healing phase. Now we're going to have the client roll on their right side. We're going to sit them up and brush them off. Now it's very special. The client is sitting up. Their energy is between heaven and earth, our nucleus of our system, the sun. And so we take this opportunity to caress their aura, integrate the system into the Vishwanara, the radiance of the soul force. Caressing the aura, feeling the energy, very present in our hands, moving down, brushing off. Very present in our hands, feeling the energy, crossing, very present, feeling the energy, brushing off. Blessing the client, radiance of light through our hands. Strengthening the core, checking in with the client, finding out how they're feeling, looking into the eyes, the windows of the soul. Thank you. It's important that the practitioner wash their hands in cold water after every session. The wrists reflex to the water chakra, and washing with cold and water is the embodiment of tamas guna. Water gathers impurities and is an energy sink. Washing in cold water, these important colon reflexes on the forearm and the reflexes to the water chakra attracts impurities and psychic garbage and binds them in the water and again sinks them into the earth. So one of the foundations of our psychic protection is to be really aware and to wash with cold water to ground and center before the session, and at the end of each energy balancing session to wash in cold water, paying attention to the forearms and wrists. Thank you. Namaste. Honor to the Divine Within.